Luis Enrique, Arnaud Herman, là.
Good evening, Arnaud Herman to your right.
Vous allez disputer un match à un
For
horaire
l'équipe,
auquel vous n'aviez
you
encore
will
jamais
play
joué dans
a
cette
game
compétition,
at a
une
brand
très
new
forte chaleur
time
humide.
in the
Comment vous êtes
competition with
préparé
very
à ces
strong
conditions
humid
de jeu
heat. How have you prepared for
particulières?
these specific playing conditions? Well, first of all, greetings everyone. Of course, we are used to playing in these conditions because this has been a constant throughout this World Cup. So it'll be the usual. We have to be ready to hydrate as usual. And from what I've been seeing lately, yes, clearly it will be a hot one, and it'll be good. It will not be good for the show because it's difficult to play under these conditions, but they'll be the same for both teams. Baptiste Becca from AFP to your right. Everybody has been expecting this game for weeks, if not months. Is this an exciting one for you personally, or will you be true to yourself and say this is just like every other game? Of course, playing against Real Madrid will be special. There's no doubt about that. And at the same time, we like to play games like that. Because if you're here, it means that you've already done a good job so far. So now we're playing in the semifinals. This will be a fun, important, and motivating game. We're ready to play tomorrow and to try to make it into another final. Hi, coach. Back to the left, Adrien Châteauvellet, Le Parisien. It will be.
Qu'est-ce que ça vous fait, vous, à titre personnel et...
Will it be special to meet again with Kylian Mbappé a year after he left? Will it be peculiar for you? What do you take away from his time at PSG? Thank you. So there are many situations making this particular and peculiar game.
Différent à quel que soit un match normal, mais à la fin, l'importance du match.
On the one hand, it's a normal game, but it's still an important game because we are in the semifinal of a World Cup.
Intéressant et on doit être prêt.
It is interesting, and we have to be ready
sur le match et sur la
so that we can remain focused on this match and on the semifinal.
Bonjour, coach. Ici Arthur Perrault.
Hi, coach. Arthur Perrault from RMC.
À votre arrivée au Paris Saint-Germain, Kylian était
still from the same angle. Kylian was in the loft when you arrived at PSG. You decided to reintegrate him into the group fairly fast. You had a brief adventure with him. Do you regret the way things ended between PSG and Kylian? Thank you.
Ce que je peux dire, c'est que ça appartient au passé. C'est derrière nous.
What I can say is that it's in the past.
Je ne dois ajouter rien de plus.
I don't have anything else to add to that.
Hi, Luis Enrique. Peter Rutzler from The Times. A question in English, if I may. Tomorrow we'll see two of the best right-backs in the world in Achraf Hakimi and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Two different profiles, I would say. I was wondering what you could say about their different qualities and what separates them and what sets them apart.
Well, I am not a fan to analyze or to compare players because here in this competition, all of them are top quality players, no doubt about that. But at the same time, I have to say that Hakimi is, without any doubt, one of the best right backs that I could not only train but also watch in my career, and it's very nice to have those players in my team. I could add also the left back, Nuno Mendes, same top level, and it's really a pleasure to have the possibility to manage them.
Aquí, Isabela Palhari para a Casa TV Brasil. Marquinhos me dijo después del partido contra Bayern que
Marquinhos said after the game with Bayern that PSG's secret is you, the way that you work as a coach after 2 years, and Kvaratskhelia said the same thing. I wanted to ask for your input, and what do you think your contribution is? I would very much like to be in agreement with them, but the true secret is the team and their ability to handle and administer their own performance. It's not the team as a function of the players. It's rather the players as a function of the team, and that's our goal. That's the goal that we all share, not only the starters, but players on the bench as well. And in that respect, this intersection has been prevalent and has been seen by our fans. And we've had a very good result.
Todas las veces que
Now,
realizaste también un
everything and every time you've had streaming and social media and the World Cup, I understand that social media consumes your media very much. Now, what do you feel when people are talking about your videos, your talks, or a masterclass? Well, I don't really consume social media. I do like to experiment in a sense, but it's not something that I'm up to speed with. And ultimately, I'm not exposed to this very much. I'm at an age where I don't really feel like I need negative or positive feedback from people who don't know me, so I try to stay at the sidelines. Now, clearly, when one is experiencing a moment like our team is, PSG, then any candy is never going to be bitter, right? So we get good reviews, good things. Of course, social media has some bad aspects as well.
Hi, Lewis. Ben Jacobs from TalkSport in the UK. I know your immediate focus is on Real Madrid, but we now know that it will be Chelsea in the final. I wondered if you watched the game today, and what do you make of this youth-led Chelsea project? Is it similar in any way to what you're building at PSG?
I cannot analyze that in that way because I don't know so well Chelsea to pretend to do an analysis. I think it's not very nice to speak before the final, and you need to win the semi-final against Real Madrid. It's always to be a real challenge. And okay, if we are there, I hope we can be there. We can analyze and we can judge and we can talk about the Chelsea. But congratulations to them because they did it great. They are in the last step, and for sure they deserve that.
Bonsoir, Luis Enrique. Ici,
Good evening, Luis Enrique, over here for SFM Switzerland. Michael Garcia. One question for your opponent.
Une question pour ton adversaire, c'est tu vas affronter.
A question for your opponent. You will be playing a new Real Madrid, coached by Xabi Alonso. What is your outlook on this new Real Madrid? What are its characteristics, its strengths and weaknesses? Thank you. Well, first of all, I think it's very difficult to analyze this Real Madrid.
En ce moment, il commence pratiquement son travail au Real Madrid.
Xabi Alonso is barely starting his work at Real Madrid, so it's difficult to analyze and to assess what exactly Real Madrid is these days. What we do know is that they're very strong individually, but as I said, they're only getting started with Xabi Alonso as a head coach. So it's always difficult to train a major team, but I believe that Xabi Alonso has everything that he needs to rise to the challenge of this club.
¿Qué tal, mister? Soy Edu Aguirre, estamos en directo en el Chiringuito. Quería saber si para usted este Paris Saint-Germain.
I wanted to know if this PSG is better without Kylian Mbappé. Well, that is in the past. And the past is something that doesn't change anything, move anything. So we'll concentrate on present. Luis, how are you? Question in Spanish. I don't want to ask you about Real Madrid because it's been asked already, but perhaps something that you may have analyzed, this team with Xavi, but not in the football sense, that this is going to be a new stage for him to be the head coach of Madrid. Any advice for him with in terms of what he might expect? Well, first of all, for me, it's a pleasure to play Real Madrid. It has always been, it will always be a pleasure because of the significance of playing with the most the team that's won everything. And of course, with the experience, I won't dare to give the Real Madrid head coach advice. I don't think it's adequate, appropriate, but not much else to add.
Coach Dorian Bonzon made in foot here on your left. Pacho will be suspended even though he has been a nailed-on starter since the start of the season. What changes does that forebode? And then did you understand this two-match ban for Pacho and Hernandez, whereas Heisen has only had one match ban after his red card? Thank you.
Rien à dire.
I can't really say anything about that. I have no control over that.
Prends aucun temps en ce sujet.
And I don't want to spend any time on this.
Nous cherchons des faits, notre boulot sont.
What we're trying to do is do our job.
Vous le verrez demain.
We'll have to do it without Pacho and Lucas, and we'll see tomorrow.
Luis Enrique, Claudio Giglioni de Cadena 3 Argentina.
Question in Spanish. You're up against a team that is well structured, that is PSG, and another one that is being built at the moment. Does this provide you with more tools to face Xabi Alonso, as Madrid has been evolving and changing and is not well established yet, as it's only 1 month of work so far? Well, that's an evidence. We come from two very different situations. We have a coach that's been here for 2 years and a new coach. So these are two totally different scenarios. The beauty of football is that football doesn't know about favorites or underdogs or starting projects or finishing projects or projects which are at its prime. The football knows about 90 minutes, 120 minutes, where each team needs to showcase their skills, and that is what makes football great. It's impossible to predict what will happen, and then any small detail can tip the balance and turn the game on its head. I think it's going to be a thrilling game for football fans and also for each team's fans, and I think tomorrow we will see a beautiful match.
Hola Luis, aquí a tu derecha.
Question in Spanish for the Spanish media. My question is, based on everything that happened with Mbappé, are you concerned that tomorrow he has an extra drive, extra motivation? That question is part of the past, is water under the bridge. I don't mention that anymore.
Bonsoir Louis, par ici, Mourad Sefiane pour Ressources Parisiennes. Je vais vous demander beaucoup de sincérité sur cette question.
Sefiane, Ressources Parisiennes, a very honest question. You like quality football, very highly attacking football. What if I told you that you had to set aside your philosophy for the next 2 games? Would you be able to do it?
Notre philosophie, c'est ça qui nous a permis de jouer la finale de Champions League.
But our philosophy was what took us to the Champions League final, so I would have to forget that?
Tu dois adapter ton mentalité.
No. We have to adapt our mindset to this match. And we have to play our strengths. That's the key. But why would I have to change that? It's important to play good football. We have every chance of winning this game if we play at our level, and that's the key for me. I don't have to change anything.
Su equipo sale de un título europeo sin precedentes.
Question in Spanish. You are coming from the first Champions League title, and this is also an unprecedented tournament for you. How do you compare both tournaments, the Champions League and the Club World Cup, based on motivation? And do you think there is added pressure to achieve, to have this additional title?
Creo que nosotros hemos hecho.
Well, I believe that that was a goal we had set ourselves when we arrived in the club. We've all made history, that is players, the staff, the sports director, the managers, the club, the fans. We've all made history. That was our goal. And once we've made history, now we have this possibility once every 4 years, that is winning a Club World Cup. And for that, you need to make it to the final, so you can get the silverware. So this is a very motivating objective, that is playing against the most decorated team in the world in a semi-finals, and to be good enough to beat them. That is our goal. That is our clear goal.
Luis Javier Cáceres.
Question in Spanish for the German media. I'd like to ask you about the mood of Donnarumma after, well, we heard his statement. He was devastated by his influence on Musiala's injury. And what do you think of Manuel Neuer's reproach regarding the injury? Well, I think if you know Gianluigi, you know he's really kind, and football is a sport where there are always injuries, sometimes very serious injuries, which are part of the football process and the life of footballers. And in no case whatsoever was ill intent from Donnarumma. You see how they lived those moments, and I will not assess other players' statements, as is not my job. But Gigi is fine. He's affected. He was more affected during the game, but he was in touch with the player, with Musiala, and we wish him a very speedy recovery. And that's it.
Luis, Thiago Leme de TV Bandeirantes de Brasil. Buenas tardes.
Question in Spanish. After winning the Champions League, how eager are you to win this Club World Cup, and what can you improve for the next edition? We know this is the end of the season. There is attrition. You have fatigue. Yesterday it was said, Enzo Maresca said yesterday that Europeans have less energy than Brazilians. You are playing at 3 p.m. What would you improve? And what do you think of this, of the level of this tournament? Well, to improve next season, the only thing we can have is a long break, long holidays, so that we can restart and then come for the next season with new objectives. And in order to do that, we are 1 or 2 matches away to the end of the season. And this season will go down in the history of PSG, and we want to end with a bang, if possible. We are in a good momentum, with plenty of energy, with a closer and closer goal that is rounding off this historic season, and that is our drive at the moment.
Hi, Luis. I'm Kylian from APT Play Vietnam. Your ambition is to build PSG to be consistently compete in the highest level and dominant force in European football. And do you think that tomorrow Real Madrid is a bigger challenge for your team to declare that? Thank you.
Well, I have nothing to say. What I think it's a semi-final of the World Cup, Clubs World Cup. It means a lot for us, it means a lot for them, and we are focused on playing that match at the high level, at high intensity, and trying to get the ball, because it's one of our force and our strength, and that's our goal for that match, an important match, and we are very close to play another final, which is a true motivation.
Hola Luis, aquí, Abraham Romero del Mundo.
Question in Spanish. One of the things you said in your TV documentary is that now you could control everything. I wanted to know, in the light of that statement, do you think football nowadays, as Xabi Alonso is insisting on spacing and the importance of 11 players defending, do you think that football is less about improvising and more about controlling, maybe playing chess?
Bueno, ¿sabes lo que es lo más bonito de un entrenador?
You know what it's the most beautiful thing has been for being a coach at this level, that is both me and my colleagues, is that what you think today is valid today, maybe tomorrow, but not for after tomorrow, because the opponents adapt constantly. So what I said at the end of that TV documentary, that was my way of thinking back in the day, but the greatness of PSG is that every time I control less and less things. And that has a deeper meaning than just the headline that you will use tomorrow. Luis Enrique does not control anything. That is true. That is the greatness. The less I control, the more chances I have. The opponents not knowing what we're going to do, and more chances that they take longer to adapt. And when they do adapt, it will be my task as a coach with my staff to try to find our way out of that, so that we can make things unpredictable. That is our goal as a team.
Luis, hi. Engin Keale from TRT Sports Turkey. When we look at how Real Madrid progresses the ball, there are two players who are very important. One is Hüseyin and one is Arda Güler. Hüseyin will not be present tomorrow. So is there a precaution that you take of Arda Güler, and how important do you think he is for Real Madrid? What's your opinion of him? Thank you.
I think you have to ask Xabi Alonso. He's coming just now, and you can ask him how important is Arda Güler or any player for the team. I am here to analyze my players, my team, and I can superficially analyze the opponent team, but I am not. I don't want to ask that.
Hola, Luis, aquí atrás soy Adrián Fouz, periodista.
Question in Spanish.
Yo quería preguntarte
for the Spanish media. I'd like to ask you, how are you living during this match day -1 and facing against Real Madrid, given your past and your publicly admitted feelings? Of course, this is a huge motivation for me. Seeing so many Spanish journalists makes it more difficult for me now. I'm just joking. I'm joking here. But I'm joking, but I realize that time goes by. I am here, but I see plenty of new faces. That's important. We have new players, but also new journalists. You come with new strength. It's a huge motivation as a coach for me, for what Madrid represents as a club globally, and also because I still have plenty of people that I know in the club, and I've shared the locker room with them. That is Butragueño or Chendo, Pirri, many people who are still there. And also because, as you know, I am a Barcelona fan. I am still a Barcelona member and also a Sporting Gijón member. So it's very important to face Real Madrid for me. Question in Spanish. For the Argentinian media. We know that this is a Club World Cup. It's going to be a tough match, and you've played in the national team in a World Cup, but I would like to ask you, at this stage, in the semi-finals, as we saw with Enzo Fernandez, who is very much used to playing World Cup games, and tomorrow you are playing a semi-final, can we see that special DNA that you have to give that extra performance and to qualify for the final, as it happened with Chelsea? What do you think? Well, I believe this is a reflection shared by all coaches, and also in my case, and that is that it's true that is the end of the season, but this is a competition that maybe in your career you will not play again it's being held every 4 years. That is a limitation. And then first, you need to be fit, not injured, and to be in a team that is playing this competition. So it's possible that most players playing tomorrow, I don't believe so, but maybe many of them will not have the possibility to play again in the semi-final in a benchmark competition like this one. This is the first edition. I think it will become a benchmark competition, I believe. And it's a beautiful way to share this with other continents and teams from various regions in the world. And it's at the end of the season, yes. But I think the motivation that we have when you are this close in semi-finals exceeds the fatigue that you might have.
Pregunta para Luis Enrique.
Luis, Mario Cortegana de The Athletic.
Question in Spanish. We don't want to compare, but obviously with Mbappe's exit, any team changes. Could you please analyze how was the process? What did you focus most to create this front line that took you to the Champions League title? And also, as a way of anecdote, you said Xabi Alonso was coming, but he's not coming. Oh, well, I can stay here longer if that is fine with you. He is not coming? No, there was a delay with the flight. I don't know if you knew. Does that change anything for you? Has this ever happened to you? No, it doesn't change. For me, it doesn't change a thing. I didn't know about the flight. I hope they can land in safely. And, well, I believe that with this answer, we've done 30 or 40 questions. So let's wrap it up. So, thank you.